That's right, relationships easy to get into, hard to maintain.
Yes, yes. Oh, oh, oh.
I'll have what she's having.
Heavens to Murgatroyd!
I'll have what she's having.
Oh my God! My lady, come, my lady. My lady, come, my lady. My lady, come, my lady.
Good evening. This is S. Michael, and with me, as always, is
Christine. Oh, sorry.
AKA.
AKA Honey.
Yes, and we are Taboo, a couple's journey into the depths of
Sexual depravity.
Yes, indeed. And tonight we have a very special guest for our taboo of the week, which is sexploitation / exotic dance, which is, of course, taboo in many cultures and societies, right? This Puritan society that we still live in the West, but all over the world, indeed. Sexploitation cinema, sexploitation in general, which can apply to just about anything, camming, exotic dance, you name it. If it's something that you make money from based on sex or sexual activity or provocativeness, etc., it can be considered sexploitation. But it's usually used in reference to movies and cinema, like blaxploitation was in the 70s. Without further ado, Jessa Jupiter Flux, welcome to the show. How was your day?
It was crazy as always. How was your day?
About the same. Yeah, crazy clients, crazy interaction with my significant other.
What? What?
Well, not that crazy.
Uh-oh.
We'll get there. We always get there after the show, right?
I don't remember crazy. Did we have crazy today?
A little bit, yeah. I got all emotional and yada yada.
Aw, that's true. Okay, I remember.
That sounds sweet.
Yeah, we've been together for about 6 months. So with this show, we actually have a few shows. We have, well, you want to tell Jessa about our other shows and our listeners?
We have our PG show, which is Unfiltered Real Talk with Christine and S. Michael, and that's PG. It started as my podcast for the last 3 years, well, 2.5 years. And then I brought on a co-host and tried to calm it down because it was very unfiltered and not PG. Brought on Mike. And so we continue. And then I have Unfiltered After Dark with Honey. And that's just me, nobody else, no guests, just me. Kind of throwback to my original podcast. And then we have this.
And then coming soon, we have, well, I'll tell them about it after I talk about my show real quick. So I also have a podcast every Sunday evening called the Scared Shitless Podcast, which ties into this particular episode pretty nicely because it's all about scary movies. And Jessa is a scary movie. She's a B-movie, scary movie scream queen. And so I will talk real quickly about how I first learned about you. So I watched a movie called Shark Exorcist back in 2015, starring Ronnie Jonah. And I fell in love with her acting. She's hilarious. She's really cool. And so I kind of, followed her on Facebook and everything, got to know Donald Farmer a little bit, who you've worked with a bunch. And then I first noticed you doing Bigfoot Exorcist with Donald. And I was like, wow, he's carrying on the Exorcist tradition. He's going to make a slew of Exorcist movies. And then I bumped into you accidentally, not directly, but I wrote a short story actually about Ronnie Jonah. I got her permission about a crazy stalker who stalks her down. And then it turns out that she's actually a succubus and she's been stalking him. So it's a lot of fun. It's called The God Pill. And that was in Strange World, I believe, issue number 4. But in that issue, you appear and you're also on the back cover as a model. So I was like, yeah, a small world, right? In the world of horror and sexploitation. So enough about, one last thing. We do have a new show we haven't started yet called the Scared Titless Podcast, where we're going to talk about breasts and horror or the lack thereof. So that'll be fun.
Well, and I didn't mention my new podcast that I haven't started yet. And tits seem to be the common denominator here. because because it's called the Dead Tit Society. And
Ooh.
yeah, it is all about my journey, my breast cancer journey. But it's not just breast cancer. Of course I talk about that, but I want to explore everything that I've learned about it in relation to women, their sexuality, men, and the way they react
Passion.
to it. Yeah. So it's going to be, and I'm going to talk about going flat and not doing implants. Um, yeah, so it's going to be interesting, I think.
Yeah, we've got a lot of projects ahead, and so do you from the looks of it. Tell us about some of the things you've got going on lately.
Well, the next things that I'm going to film, I'm going to finish filming Your Blood is, or Your Blade is My Salvation. Sorry. I kept posting it wrong on the internet too whenever I was promoting it the first time we filmed, so I'm a little embarrassed about that. But I'm going back to finish my character. I'm a detective, super cool FBI agent type character, and that's really
Nice.
fun. And then after that, I'm going to do a small project called Cut to Red, which is it's a part of a bigger project. Um, but it's basically a movie within a movie, and so it's like a 80s, it's 1985 beach movie. And then I'm just wearing a bikini the whole time, and of course it's like those kind of movies where they're doing like a contest to save the beach, a bikini contest.
Right.
So I'm trying to get people to get on my wish list right now and to send me some 80s looking bikinis so that I will look period correct when I show up. Also, there is like a line in there where I'm rubbing myself down with glistening oil, and I don't want to actually burn on the beach, so I found some with SPF that hopefully someone will send me off of my wish list as well for that. And then after that, I have The Morning Architect with Joe Hollow, and that's also a pretty small part, but I'm really excited to work with Joe. Joe's somebody I've wanted to work with for a really long time, and we're kind of treating this as like a almost like a in-person audition for like a bigger part later down the road.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping to impress him, and I've been working on this wig for this character as well. And I don't know, I might have blown it. So, like to curl wigs, I don't know if you know this, you actually have to steam them. You roll them up with rollers, and then you use a steamer to steam them, and then the synthetic hair will stay like that once it's dry, basically. It's better than putting like a hot iron on there and burning the plastic fibers. So I did that, but I used it way too long. So the back curls are like they're beautiful. They look like my natural kind of curl pattern.
Uh-huh.
And then on top it looks like an 80s perm. So I have no idea what I'm gonna do about that. I don't want to like throw the wig away, but
Oh
I'm gonna work
no.
with it and see if I can't get it worked out because I don't want to wear my natural hair in this movie because spoiler, just in case you guys don't want to hear them, just skip this. I get killed to a blow to the head, and there's gonna be blood everywhere,
Bum,
and
bum,
my
bum.
hair just it absorbs that like stage blood, and my hair will be pink for God knows how long. So I wanted to wear a wig, and of course I might have messed it up. So got to get back working on that as soon as possible. But yeah, I have a lot of things coming up, and some really exciting things I can't talk about, of course.
Right.
But it's like this year is going to be my year for sure. Like a lot of things are going on.
That's awesome. I'm so excited for you. Yeah, and I wish you the best in all of your upcoming projects. So for the purposes of this show, we explore a different taboo subject every week. And with this week being sexploitation, I guess the first question I would have for you is when did you start kind of delving into not sex work? I mean, when you say sex work, people think prostitute, right? But no, I mean like camming, being a model, um, basically, using your body to make money and your sexuality.
Um, so I started sort of camming. I never really did the cam girl thing like how it's traditionally done, where they're on like say a Streamate or a my free cams or something. I tried those. They never really quite worked for me. But what I used to do, as soon as I knew that this was an option, I would take PayPal, which is a no-no. You will get your account closed down, as we all know. And mine's been closed down thrice now, 3 times. But I would take PayPal payments, and then I would get on Yahoo Messenger and just, do a little tease or something for a certain amount of time. And that's literally how I did it. And that kind of was my introduction to adult work. And then around that same time, I had started dancing in a club. I actually started dancing as soon as I turned 18 because my friend, I was still in high school. I had a friend who was dancing at the club. That's the 18 and up club in my area. And she was like, you got to come, you got to come. It's so fun. You're going to love it. Like, you're such a good dancer. Cause I trained in dance my whole life. She's like, you're such a hot dancer anyways. Like, this is going to be the thing for you. So I went and I tried it, and I actually hated it the first night I did it. But I went back like less than a year later, and I've been there ever since, pretty much for the most part. I've taken some time off here and there, but yeah, I did that. I still have it. It's a solo website. It's a solo girl website. They're not as popular now because people don't really trust random websites as much as things like OnlyFans, which I have, or Loyal Fans, or anything that's kind of an established name.
Yeah.
But I do still have members on there that, they're coming in, they're wanting to see my stuff when I first started. They're wanting to see like my videos and stuff whenever I very first started taking my clothes off on the internet. So I'm leaving it up as long as it's making money, you know what I mean? But I don't update it anymore. But I was very serious about updating that for a very long time. And someone just kind of came to me and they said, have you heard of like a solo girl website? They saw what I was doing. I was posting videos of me dancing sexily in cosplay on YouTube, and they caught wind of it. They checked it out, and they were like, you really should have a website for yourself where you don't get in trouble, because I was getting kicked off of YouTube and everything like that. They're like, instead of getting all these account bans, you can do this and just push everybody to this website and people can join, and then you can do whatever you want on there. You can go as far as you want. So I let that person build a website for me. I ended up buying it from them because like this happens so much, is that someone will offer to make a girl a website. And this happens in OnlyFans too. I get the emails every week where there are people that want to run your account for you, and they take like half of your income, but they're like, oh, we'll make it a smoother process. Like, all you have to do is send us the videos and the pictures, and then we'll do the posts and we'll do the answering of the emails and all of that.
Yeah,
But
it's the
they
same
really
thing
take
in
advantage of you.
podcasting. I get those emails too, just for our podcast. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, there's people that want to take advantage of you. And this guy, unfortunately, the one that started my website, he was one of those people.
Oh, I'm
He
sorry.
stopped updating it regularly whenever I'd send him content to update it with. And then like I bought the website from him because I had figured out how to get on the FTP and do the HTML myself, and I was updating it on my own anyhow. So I was like, why are you taking 40% of my income? So
Yeah.
I ended up buying the name from him. That's another thing. Anytime you have a website and you have someone else run it for you, always, always, always own your URL. Like, own your own URL. Don't let them own it. Don't let them purchase it for you, because he charged me like $5,000 for that. And at the time, that was a lot of money for me. And I actually did crowdfunding to before there was like really crowdfunding websites. I was like, if anybody wants to help me to buy my own website back so I can take control of it and update it regularly and do it how I want, please contribute. And my fans actually basically bought my website back for me. They sent me money via PayPal. I was like, don't say what it's for, like, just say it's for a website purchase,
Yeah.
not what website it is. But anyhow, so that I've always had these really great fans, that have helped me out along my way, and helps me to right any wrongs that I may have accidentally committed, like not owning my URL. But so that's kind of how I got started, though, with doing adult work. And I've done it pretty much ever since. In 2020, I kind of was phasing out of doing my solo site. I still have it. I still had it then. And I was kind of phasing out of that because I was wanting to get into the salon business, and I wanted to do hair. I have my cosmetology, aesthetics, and massage therapy training. And I wanted to work in a salon doing all those things. And being that I live kind of in the Bible Belt, I just didn't want
Same
them to
here.
be like,
Yeah, we're
oh,
both in the Midwest. Yeah.
you get it. Yeah, I didn't want them to be like, oh, that's undressed Jess. I'm not sure we want to hire her because, people that might make appointments with her might find out that she has this website or whatever. So I wasn't going to close it down or anything. I was just not talking about it as much, not promoting it as much. But then 2020 happened, and it was a blessing in disguise for me because, at first I was freaking out because I couldn't touch anybody's hair. I couldn't do anybody's hair. I couldn't do facials. I couldn't do massage, and the strip clubs closed down as well, which I haven't ever worked regularly in a strip club.
But
I
it was
think there's
always something
been
you could fall back on if you needed to.
exactly
Yeah.
like I could always pop up in the club and say, I'm going to make some money tonight. Well, that was not an option. So people had been telling me you need to really check out OnlyFans for a long time. And so I finally did, and it saved my ass. And it continues to save my
Yeah.
ass in between, my acting gigs and everything. And I'm so glad for it. It was, like I said, 2020 was a blessing in disguise. And because of, starting in OnlyFans, I was able to eventually quit working in a salon and focus on my acting so I can just update my website, my OnlyFans 3 times a day, answer messages and whatnot, but I can also work on learning my lines. And that was kind of a hassle in a salon, I'm just like,
Sure.
I'm sitting here trying to learn my lines. I'm cutting somebody's hair. Whoops, like it was, my boss was on my ass about it all the time. She's like, I'm not going to say anything. I know you're like answering phones today, but
My
you really
hairdresser was
shouldn't
talking about
probably
sharks and demons and shit. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I'm just like saying it out loud. She's like, you really shouldn't bring your scripts to work, but I guess it's fine. But I couldn't stand that, so I had to get out of there. So yeah, I'm happy with where I am now with doing the OnlyFans and also acting. It's great, and I still pop into the strip club every as much as I can, honestly, because it's great money. It's not always great money because like the economy, you know what I mean? But it's still money. Even if you only make like $100 that night, that's $100 that you didn't have when you went in. You got some exercise. I bring my light set up. I bring
Nice.
I have like a small light that I bring, and then I have like a tripod. I will take videos and pictures of myself in there for my OnlyFans because people love to see into that world that are
Yeah.
only, checking out my content online. They're like, oh, what's it like to be in a strip club? Because, it seems like it doesn't really cross over much, to be honest. People that go into a strip club are totally different kinds of people than people that want to interact with you online. I don't know, they're different personality types, but one wants to look into the other, and like the guys at the club, they asking, oh, you do OnlyFans? What's that like? I even had a guy, this is so funny. The other day I was at work, and he was really flirting with me. He really thought the stripper liked him. You know what I mean? And he was like, oh, so is this like what you do? Like this is your job? I'm like, yeah, I am half naked right now, sitting at a bar that is a strip club, but yeah, I work here. And then he was like, do you do anything else? I'm like, well, I'm an actress. He's like, cool. Is that like a mattress actress? And I was like,
God.
No, I was like, no, it's real it's independent film, so it's not Hollywood. I've done some bigger stuff, but it's usually smaller parts for those things. But you never know what's gonna happen. And he was like, so you don't have like an OnlyFans? And I was like, oh no, I have an OnlyFans too. But that's not what I mean by when I say my career is acting. And then he got really bent out of shape, and he was like, oh, I'd never date a girl that had an OnlyFans. And this is a guy that was definitely trying to take a stripper out. So I don't know what the difference is. And I asked him, I was like, so what's your hang up with like OnlyFans? He's like, oh, no offense to you or anything. It's just like, I wouldn't want my girl online for everybody to see and all this shit. And I was
As
just
long as it's
like,
live
but
on
you,
stage, though, you're cool with it. Okay.
but you don't mind me like in a like a string bikini, like a string thong up floss up my ass humping on somebody for a living? You're weird, dude. Like, not that I was gonna date you anyways, but like I
Right.
just feel like sometimes, sometimes like guys like they just want to pick at you when they know there's no chance. Like they figure it out and they're like, oh, there's something I can pick at. So I think that's kind of what his, thing was. But Anyhow, yes, I'm in the sex industry.
Okay, so yeah, before we get into the film discussion, I do want to circle back to Christine because she also has a background in camming and exotic dance.
Yeah, no, I didn't strip for very long. That was a dare that my then boyfriend, um he wanted me to go into a strip club and see if I could get a job like right then and there. So I did, and I did, and then I stayed for about 7 months, and I loved it mostly
Yeah.
because of the exercise. Um, but yeah, it was fun. It was a different world. It was a great experience. I at the about the same time I became a cam model, and this was back when there were no cam models, and it was only solo girl websites. There were no chatterbaits or OnlyFans or strip chat or whatever. There was none of that. And there weren't that many of us that did it. As a matter of fact, we were all featured in a magazine because this was at the beginning of the internet, and it was a
New and
whole
exciting, yeah.
yeah, it was a whole new thing. And I kind of had the same experience as Jessa, as far as I paid somebody to set up a website for me, and eventually I started doing all the uploads myself. I learned FTP and HTML, and it's FTTP, but whatever. um
Yeah,
yeah,
we
and
know what we're talking about.
yeah,
It's all great.
and uh, and so I ended up, now I did own my own URL, and I own my own. I've always owned my own domains. Um, so I just told him, don't need you anymore. I did have to, buy the website from him. Um, but I didn't have to spend too much money, and I ended up doing it for a while. Well, I did it until I moved to Indiana. So so yeah, then I got married, and when I got married, he said I could keep doing it if I wanted to. Now at that time, I was a cam model, and I wasn't stripping anymore. I would do some modeling, um, and we were also pretty heavily involved in alternative lifestyles. And so then I got married to a pretty vanilla guy, and we stayed married for 23 years. He always said, if you want to go back to it, you can. And he promised that. He promised me before we got married, if you ever want to go back to it, you can. 20 years, I never asked, I never wanted. But then shit changed, and COVID happened. And I was a realtor for many years. Um, and then I got tired of that. So I became a travel agent. Well, COVID got rid of that. And I was at a doctor's appointment one day, and a lady told me about OnlyFans. And I'm like, really? Because she's like, have you ever thought about doing it? I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. And I told her my history. I have a background years ago in doing that type of thing, but I just can't imagine doing it now. Well, I ended up doing it, and my ex-husband was very not wanting me to do it when I first mentioned it. And I said, now hold on. Do
You
you remember
said,
the promise? Do you remember the promise you made me? And what could he say? And I moved. Well, Mike, when I want to do something, I move pretty darn fast. So within a week, I
yep.
had everything set up. Um, and people kept telling me I needed to do be a cam model. Don't do OnlyFans. So I ended up doing that, and I got a pretty good following. I had about 50,000 guys that followed me, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, and it was fun. I had a great time, but then life changed. Life happened. I stopped going very often. I had a lot of personal things I was dealing with that really kept me away from it, and I transitioned into, I would go on cam and I would talk, and my room specifically said no nudity and just chat, and I would call it coffee and chat with honey. And guys would come in. I'd have hundreds of guys in there asking me questions. They wanted to know, what does a woman think of this? What does a woman think of that? How can I get this girl to go out with me? How can I get an erection better? How can I last longer? What can I do to make her sexually satisfied? All kinds of things. And we did this every single day. And it led into a podcast. And then,
Nice.
yeah, and that's where I am now. Yeah. So that's my background.
So I do have a question for both of you since you brought up your ex, and you can, decide to comment on this or not. But if you are a sex worker, an adult worker, and you're in a relationship with someone, what sorts of experiences have you had with a significant other? Like, is there maybe some jealousy involved? Are they cool with it? Do you clear everything with them first? Like, what's the dynamic like? So with Christine and I, just for example, we met on an adult website. So
Cool.
from day one, we knew the skinny, and we're involved in, the lifestyle together. And so it was no surprise that, oh yeah, by the way, I've done cam work. I still have, a chatterbait. Here's my show. And that's where this show came from, was just our communication with each other and acceptance of each other. But that's not always the case. And there was even a brief period of time where she was getting like emails from old fans of hers. And I was like, who the fuck's that? It's like there was a little bit, of territoriality there.
Well, it's a little bit of a, you have to, it's a transition. You have to get used to it.
Yeah,
It's something that you want, but careful what you wish for, right?
right.
As soon as you get it, you're like, yeah, yeah. So he'd get a little jealous.
Yeah, and I think not every guy, but a lot of guys probably just imagine themselves, oh, I'm going to marry a stripper or a former prostitute or a cam model or
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't think every guy thinks that.
No, but
I think
they
every guy probably
fantasize though. They
I think every guy
fantasize.
probably wants to, have the experience, but they don't want to marry him.
Right.
They don't want to be with
Mm,
them forever, typically.
But if you are in a relationship with this, an adult worker, and your buddy finds out, oh, you lucky bastard, and it's like, well, be careful what you wish
Well,
for, bro.
so in answer to your question, I will answer first if nobody minds. So my ex-boyfriend, the one that I got involved, I started stripping, I became a cam model, I did the nude modeling and
Lifestyle stuff.
and
Yeah.
in the lifestyle, he introduced me to the lifestyle. He zero jealousy, absolutely none, zero. um and we had a couple that we played with for 3 years. We would play with them, like a couple times a month. We got very close. He never cared about anything. Then when I got married to the vanilla dude, he had no reason to be jealous because I wasn't interested in doing it. And I didn't know whether he'd be jealous or not. Well, when I ended up doing it, we were already on our way to getting a divorce, and which is, pretty much why I decided I wanted to do it, because I was headed that way and he knew it. And I think what pushed me to finally tell him we're done was because he got so jealous.
Ah,
And and I made it so easy for him. I told him, and I don't know why I did this, because seriously, he didn't deserve it, but I told him, I will tell you, every night when you come home, we will sit and I will show you all the communication. At that time, it was OnlyFans I was doing. And I said, I'll open up my OnlyFans page. We'll look at it all. I'll show you what I've done for the day. I'll show you who I've talked to. We'll read my messages from guys, all the stuff, total transparency.
wow.
I actually looked at it like kind of a, foreplay, that it'd be fun.
Okay.
And we did that for about a week. And then he stopped wanting to do it. And about 2 weeks later, he started acting weird. And I'm like, you stopped wanting to share. I've been transparent. Just forget it. You're whatever. And he didn't want to look. So then I found out that he had made an account and sneaked onto my OnlyFans page. And so I kicked him off and I gave him shit for it. And then he started tracking my phone.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, one day I go to the tanning salon and he texts me and he's like, where are you at? I'm like, I'm at the tanning salon. And he said, oh, okay, so you'll be home at X, Y, and Z, whatever. Yeah. So when I get home, he's like, so when did you get home? And I said, when? So, where were you? Because you said you were leaving the tanning salon. Well, what he was doing was, he knew I had left the tanning salon and he knew that I had gone to a store and he wanted me to say it. Why do I care? It's nothing. It was nothing. I stopped by the
Yeah.
grocery store in our neighborhood. So that's when I found out that he was tracking me. I'm like, what's going on? So that was pretty much the end of it right there. I'm like, yep, this is done. It's over.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I would say just from my perspective, being in love with someone who is sexually liberated, has a background in sex work, adult work, camming, modeling, etc., exotic dance, you name it. I am a little territorial, but it's not in the way that you're
You're
talking
not a
about,
little
where it's like,
territorial.
what,
You're very territorial.
you know what I mean? I don't be
But you're not
stalking.
jealous.
Yeah,
There's a
exactly.
difference between territorial and jealousy. You're not jealous.
You're right. You're right. And that's the difference. You can still be territorial and take care of your person, your woman, or your man, and not
He's a
be
caveman.
a jealous douche, so.
Yeah, you're a caveman. You
Ugh.
take me by the hair and
Yeah.
drag me in the room. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we have a whole
Well, as
episode
far
on
as like
CNC. Go ahead.
that sounds fun. So I would say as far as people I've dated having issues with me being a sex worker, I really I haven't had a lot. Most people that I date, I wouldn't date somebody that would have a problem with it, but of course things develop later. So I would say there's three guys that are of note. One was definitely living in my house for free and reaping the benefit of me having that solo site. And when I had my solo site, I used to have 12 cameras up all around the apartment that were broadcasting me 24/7. And so he knew he was going to be a part of that, like by living with me. And he would had a drinking problem. And so sometimes he would drink and then threaten to message my members because he broke into my email address, of course. And he knew what their email addresses were through their signups and everything. He's like, I'm going to find out who their family is. And he never did any of this, but he would always threaten to tell their families that they're pervs and, that they're members of my site. And I'd be like, why do you want to do that and then not be able to pay our rent? Like, that's like the
Yeah.
dumbest idea ever. So yes, that guy would be really kind of jealous, but it would come in waves and it was usually alcohol related. Another one I dated a DJ from a strip club that I worked at, and I really liked to go to work with him because it was like we were both there. I could always like go and talk to him in the middle of the shift or whatever, take a break, in the DJ booth. But I found out as time moved along that he actually fucking hated it, and so he'd be like, he was like, I don't want to watch you. Like, I don't want you to come up and be like, yeah, I'm going to do an hour VIP. Like, and then I have to check back on you and make sure like nothing's happening because it was the DJ's responsibility to kind of look through the little window. And he's like, and that's just, yeah, I don't personally really like it. I don't want to look over there. And I'm like, well, sorry, I'm still gonna come to work with
Yeah.
you because you're my ride. And at the time I was drinking, so it was my ride home too. So I kind of liked that, but I didn't realize he kind of kept it a secret for a long time until he finally came out with it. And it wasn't even a bad explosion of jealousy or anything. He just kind of just was honest eventually about it. And then also there was a guy that I met through my OnlyFans that I ended up dating for a little less than a year, and it was very much like a like a mutually beneficial
Yeah.
relationship.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so we kind of went into it knowing that it was going to be like a sugar daddy type situation. We weren't necessarily calling it that because I find a lot of sugar daddies don't really want to be called a sugar daddy because
Right.
they feel like it cheapens their what it means. They think that means like you don't care about them or something like that, but it's like that's not necessarily the case. I either care about you or I don't. Like calling you what you are doesn't really change that. But I did care about him, and he just grew he slowly worse and worse, and he was a drinker, and he would get really upset when I even go on movie sets that had nothing to do with sex work, you know what I mean? And he would look up everybody on the set. He would usually like zero in on one guy that I was going to be working with, look up everything about him. I was like, I think maybe you just might have a touch of the gay, hon. You're the one looking up these guys that you find attractive and thinking that I'm going to do something with them. But that's like, and he would call while I was on set to the point where I'd have to turn off my cell phone. And then, eventually we did break up because of a fan, because he was he was kind of publicly making fun of one of my fans who is on the spectrum. It ended up
Oh
that guy,
no. Oh God.
I did had to kind of block this fan eventually because it did get a little bit out of hand, but
Yeah.
I didn't like it was like the way he was making fun of him. It was just like I don't, it's not something I would do, it's not something I would stand by. And I said you can't make fun of him, calling him these names and reposting his stuff and like talking bad about him, because like regardless if he's my fan or not, you can't talk about people like this.
Right.
And so that was the final thing that we ended up breaking up over. But he was so jealous of all my exes, like anybody I would end up talking to. It was even if we were out at a bar in a city where nobody knew either of us, if someone came up to talk to me a little bit too long, he would get super jealous. It's so I think it's sort of like you kind of know in the beginning a lot of times, like if someone's going to be that way. And usually I just cut it off like immediately. But this guy was also paying me a lot of money via his
Yeah.
girlfriend. So, I
Mutually
put up with it as long
beneficial.
as I
And
could.
there's such a stigma on that. People gave Anna Nicole Smith such shit, for having her sugar granddaddy, but she cared about him. If you read up on
I
everything that
do
went down
believe
against
that.
him, yeah. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with, two consenting adults coming to a mutually beneficial agreement. Absolutely.
Exactly.
So that's, I guess, a good time to segue into your film work. Um, I will talk about real quick the first full length movie that I watched you in, which was Deadly Dealings. And I watched it because Ronnie Jonah was in it, and I didn't know you were going to be in it. And then
Yeah.
I was like, oh, she's in it too. Okay, this is cool. So two B movie scream queens in one film. And I am friends with Adam Freeman on Facebook. I comment on a lot of his stuff. Sometimes we have a little bit back and forth. It's fun though. And I've reviewed a couple of his movies, and of course he's tied with Donald Farmer. But yeah, I saw you in that, and I saw that you had put on an accent, and I was like, wow, she's playing this Southern Belle psychiatrist person, and I'm in human services, and I thought she's actually doing a pretty good job of presenting what a human services worker does. So I was
Yeah.
impressed. Yeah, and that was
Thank
honestly
you.
the only thing I've seen you in. I'm aware of your other films, but that's the only one that I've watched all the way through.
Well, that's honestly my favorite. Whenever people ask what's my favorite movie that I've done, I always say Deadly Dealings. I really had a good experience on that set. It was the character that Adam helped me to come up with was it was so cool. Like when I work with a lot of directors, it's like they give me the script and I have the lines to kind of develop the character from. But I think I get on their nerves a little bit when I'm like, should I have this vocal fry
Right.
when I'm
What's my
talking, And I
motivation?
have
Yeah.
like, yeah, like, well, and I kind of get these ideas and I'm like, well, should she be a little bit goth or should she be a little bit this or what do you think of this? And Adam knew exactly what he wanted. And he sent me like music videos of like certain country stars. He wanted that accent, and I was comfortable with it because like half my family's from Kentucky. That's a totally different accent than what I did. And because I actually did research on, okay, so what does someone who's Southern, but she's also highly educated enough to be a therapist, like how would she speak? And so I kind of looked into that. It is different than, my family members. So, but I had something to go off of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was really fun coming up with that character and just, the sweetness that she had in her heart for the people, that she was treating and, helping out with their grief. It really meant a lot to me. And also, it's like something that I always wanted to be a therapist. That's actually what I wanted to do. So anytime I get to play a therapist, that was like a good therapist. But I got to also play in Fatal Desires. I got to play like this dirty, lowdown, manipulative sex therapist that's gonna get all your money. She's gonna
Nice.
kill you, and she's gonna get all your money. But anytime I get to play a therapist, though, I find it really exciting because that's something I actually wanted to do with my life. So Deadly Dealings was my first time getting a chance to do that, and I'll never forget it. It's one of my favorite characters I've played. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and it makes sense to me just based solely off of how I've seen you respond to fans on social media. And then the story that you just told us about the special needs fan who eventually, went too far and burned himself out or whatever. But the way that you kind of were like, no, you can't treat him like that, even though he's obnoxious, even though he's, going too far, you still treat him with dignity. I mean, you have to have that kind of heart to be in human services. Well, you don't have to, right? It's like teachers too. There's and cops. There's bad ones and good ones. But if you want to
should
do
be.
it well and do it right, you have to have a heart for people. So yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah, you slayed that role. So
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. So let me circle back then real quick to what is the first time that you got involved in cinema?
Okay, so the first time I got involved in cinema is a movie that I actually don't often speak about, but it was just this very small scene, and it was literally it was a movie that was going to be playing in a jerk shack. You know what I'm talking about? Like where
Yeah.
you go in and you put your
Oh yeah, I
coins in
remember
and you watch the
those. They
movie.
were huge in the 90s.
Well, they have them still where I live. They have two of them actually.
Wow.
But yeah, so it's the guy. It was a movie called The Hymnographer. It never came out on like disc or anything like that. But he did do the circuit with it. Going to film festivals, and he even played it at some fetish like cons. He took it to fetish cons and showed it as well because it was kind of fetishy. It was like a guy who was overly obsessed with religion, and then he had these urges that he was so punishing himself for with the what is that called? The not
Flagellation,
flog
yeah.
flagellation. That's what it is. So the hymnographer. That's what I was in at first, and I just basically it was just a masturbation scene that I did, and he filmed it, and it was playing. He literally filmed it on VHS, which was really cool because he wanted it to look like it had been played over and over and over again
Nice.
in
Get that nice
one of
grainy
these
look.
rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had it playing in the background whenever the guy was obviously in the jerk room or whatever. But that's like the actual first time I was ever filmed for anything cinematic.
And how'd you
And
get
that was
that gig?
really
How did you get come upon that opportunity?
so he lived in town. It was a guy, Mitch Massey is his name, and he doesn't make films anymore. And I think that's so sad because he was really, really talented. And then after he did films for a while, he ended up doing music videos for some pretty serious bands that would. One even was from Germany and traveled all the way to Evansville, Indiana, to have him do two
Wow,
music videos
nice.
for him. So he was doing pretty well with that. But of course in the arts, you don't make as much money as you want to, and I think that burned him out on it. And now he just has a pretty typical job. But I wish he would make films again. But he just knew me. I was a part of, I'm part of the community, and he knew that I had undressedjust.com, my old website, and he thought, oh, well, she'll probably be down to do this, and I was down to do it. It was the first time I ever had anybody film me doing anything like that. So even in having a website, I had always filmed my own videos. So it was like kind of like, I don't know, exhilarating a little bit. Like it was like kind of scary, but also very exciting to have somebody actually film me doing that. And so it was definitely an experience. I wish it was somehow I could sell that
Yeah.
movie. I wish there was I wish I could get copies of it. But the first time after that, where I got involved in the scene that I'm involved in now, I was dancing at a club in Bloomington, Indiana, with a girl by the name of Alice Winkler. I'm sure if you follow like any of the Scream Queens, you might know who she is. But she's really, really cool. She had been already doing independent horror, and she was describing some scene that she had done that was particularly like kind of difficult for her, and she was just talking about like where she went mentally for that, and it was like a rough sex scene. It was not consensual, and so she was just kind of discussing with me and a couple other girls like how she got through that and where she went mentally for it. And for some reason, I don't know, it like got me hype. I was like, I wonder if I could do that. Like, and I actually will not do a non-consensual sex scene in a movie, but I just meant like, I wonder if I can be like, I can do lines and I can like, actually act in a film. It
Yeah,
just,
so let
that's
me
a
ask you this
kind of,
real quick, because you have that camming background already, and had been somewhat involved in adult work. And Christina and I talked about this the other day with the fact that we fantasize a lot, it's a big thing that's on our plate always, and she gets into roles and I get into roles. And she has this long background of, adult performance. Do you feel like that kind of helped you when you slid into acting, kind of, the persona that you would put on for fans?
Well, I wouldn't say particularly, but it didn't hurt it at all. I would say like as far as like whenever I would do like videos for my website or even do live shows for the members because I used for at one time I did a member show every single day. Like I was crazy. So I'd be like, you can always rely on a member show every day and 12 cameras broadcasting 24/7. I was a nutcase, but I would just be myself. Like I just be how I am right now. So I would never really put on a different character. I would definitely say it's still performing, like it's still putting the best version of you out there and trying to speak clearly and so they can understand you and give directions so that they follow them and whatnot. So yeah, I don't think it hurt me, but it's not really, I never really did a lot of role playing
Okay.
in my work is in with adult
Yeah,
video content.
there's a difference between most of the women, girls, whatever, just kind of be themselves, and they
Yeah.
just do what the guy pays them to do. Um,
Hmm.
they do it well, But like with me, I did a lot of role playing, but that's just the kind of, I mean, I got a lot of private shows with a lot of men that wanted to role play. And I
Hmm.
learned a lot. I didn't know what small penis humiliation was. Like, you have to walk me through that. And, I was fortunate that I had men that were extremely helpful. and and I got so good at being able to pick up on cues and just going with it, that I mean, to this day I still get, I mean, it's been a couple of months, but I'll still get a request to, hey, will you do this? And it's mostly small penis humiliation, which I swore the first time I got asked to do that, I told the guy, there's no way I can do that. I cannot humiliate a person. Oh yeah,
It's
I
not in
can.
your nature at all.
It's not at all, but I'm pretty darn good at it. I really am.
I've always shied away from taking requests like that in my sex work, and it's not because I feel any certain way about the requests or the fetishes that people want me to act out. It's just that I never, and I think this has served me well. I never wanted to do anything that wasn't natural for me,
Yeah.
because I felt like I would get burnt out if doing role plays and acting out these people's my fans' fetishes. I just said, you know what, I can recommend someone else that would be down to do that. But, I'd prefer to just make the content that I want to make, how I want to make it, when I want to make it. You know what I mean? That way, I never feel like, oh, this is an awful job. No, it's like,
Yeah.
no,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
about to
I
get
for
off here.
sure,
You know?
yeah, I for sure did not do all the requests for sure. I
Sure,
did the
yeah.
ones that, like the SPH, that's probably the only one that I really had zero confidence that I could do, because I really didn't want to. Like you said, it's not my nature.
Hmm.
But everything else was a lot of domination, submission, domination, um, and video requests, teasing and specific things that they wanted. And it was a lot of acting, because they would give me a pretty much a script to follow. um and but it'd be for like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. uh but yeah, no, I enjoyed it, but I definitely turned guys down. Oh, I can think of a few things. I can think of one in particular that I would never do. And oh, and the guy tried it. He offered me so much money to do it. And it was, I mean, he wanted me basically to be a racist.
Oh,
Yeah,
hell
I knew it
no.
was going to be that. I
Yeah.
knew it was going to
Oh.
be that.
Yeah.
I've been
He
asked to
did.
do that as well.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And he would come back and come back and come back. I'm like, you again? I'm not doing
Wait, so I
it.
have a very important question for context. Did this happen to be a person of color?
Yes.
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
usually who has particular fetish that I
They
find.
want a white woman to racially
Denigrate
humiliate,
them. Yeah. Wow.
and
Wow.
they want you to use the N word, which I'm not doing. I just
Right.
I'm just not doing it. And willing to pay a lot of money. Sorry, not doing it.
Yeah.
So let's talk real quick about Evansville and the scene. And there's cons held there. And in fact, I should tell you a little story. I think I've shared it with you before. When RaptorCon first started down there, you had posted something about, hey, hello, I live here. I'm a local celebrity. And they refused to get back to you. They wouldn't make you part of the show or part of the con. And I sent them an email like, yeah, why don't you guys get your heads out of your asses? You know, just promoting you a little bit. And they actually wrote me back, and I ended up getting a press pass, and it was fine. But I think, didn't you later get involved with them on some level?
I did do a convention with them. It was the first Evansville Horror Con that they did, but it was a little tricky. So I signed up. Well, what I thought I signed up with someone else who's a filmmaker who was going to share the table with me, but he didn't put me on the list as far as going to be at his table because this is the first convention he had ever signed up to do. And whenever I announced it, they thought I was trying to sneak in.
Oh
And it
God.
was kind of like, yeah, it was kind of, there's a little back and forth about it. And, I apologized. I was like, look, my friend signed up for this and he's never done a convention before, so he didn't know that he needed to list anybody he was sharing the table with. I mean, I was like, I can show you the receipt where I sent him half the payment for the table in the beginning. I wasn't trying to sneak in or anything like that. And they did bring that up as far as whenever I made that post. And I didn't mean any harm when I made that post. I was just like, I saw that there was a nerdy convention, you know what I mean, going to be in my town, and I thought, well, why wouldn't anybody contact me? Because I can go for free. Like you don't have to fly me out. Um, you don't have to get my hotel room. I literally live in town. So I was just thinking, like, why wouldn't they invite me? But I guess not only you emailed, they said a lot of people emailed them and they were like, that really hurt our business. And I was like, well, that wasn't my intention at all. And I'm sorry, if it did that, that was totally not what I was trying to do. I was trying to get your attention so that maybe I could be a part of what you were trying to create here because I wanted to, help you out and I thought we could help each other out. But it ended up that they were really reluctant to let me be a part of that first horror convention that we had in Evansville because of that. And then eventually they decided to go ahead and let me have the table because it ended up my friend who was the filmmaker I was going to share the table with couldn't even come. So it's just going to be me at the table.
Wow.
So they let me have it. But anytime that I've only tried the next horror con. I haven't tried since then because I found it a little bit humiliating. But anytime I've tried to sign up to get a table, I tried to sign up with a horror writer, and I was going to share a table with her. And then I tried to sign up on my own, and they did not approve the request to buy the table. And when my friend, is the husband of the horror writer that I was going to share the table with, asked them, what was going on with that, why it wasn't approved, they said that at their last show, which would have been the one that I was a part of, that people had complained that there was someone selling adult movies on
Oh
the
God.
floor, and I hadn't even and adult materials, and I hadn't even been in Hustler yet. Like I was in Hustler later that year. It was October 23 is when I was featured in Hustler. But anyhow, so I was like, I didn't have that. That would have been the only thing that would have been adult.
Yeah.
That I would have. I do sell those at my table, but I keep them in the plastic and everything. Um, but I guess it could have been misconstrued that like movies like Debbie Does Demons
Right.
and Cannibal Hookers, I guess it could come off as like, people thinking that that is porn, but all you would have to do is a Google search, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you would find out that they're cheesy horror movies that use names like that to get people's attention, to get people to watch them, and that's really what it's all about. Like it's sexploitation, to get
Yeah,
that
that's
attention, to
exactly
get that
right.
money and to get those viewers and everything, and that's why they use names like that. But I don't know, I felt like that was a bit of a cop out, so I don't know, we just don't have I would like to try again with them. I'd like to maybe try and get into the next show, and see if they've had a change of heart.
Yeah.
I really don't wish them any ill will, but unfortunately, they haven't had me back. I guess that post, they really felt that that post really hurt their business, and I wish I could go back and not post it. You know, I feel really bad about it, but it wasn't like I wasn't doing it to be an asshole. You know, I was doing it like, hey, there's a cool convention in town. Like, why wouldn't they ask me to be involved? That's literally, you understand. That's where I
Oh
was
yeah,
coming from on
yeah.
that.
You know, when it
But
comes
I
to like
guess,
cons, I've gotten like minimally involved. I've gotten a few press passes and things. And some of the con owners can be pretty, kind of gatekeepy a little bit, and a little sensitive. It's like, okay, I'm not trying to step on what you're trying to do here. Maybe we can, benefit each other somehow. I'm going to promote you. You're going to promote me in some way. So, yeah. So, how was your,
right.
other than the logistics of it, how was your experience at the cons?
At that con that I did, the Evansville Horror Con, the first one, at that time it was the highest selling, best convention I had ever had. So it was really a blow when I couldn't get back in. I was like, wow. But the people that lived in town really, really supported me, and I mean, I was so excited. Like I got to see people that I hadn't seen since, junior high walking through, and I'd be like, hey, and then they had no, they didn't, like, some of them didn't know that what I was doing. They didn't know that I had been doing horror movies or anything like that. So I made a lot of new fans there. And I met some fans that I still keep in contact with to this day that I met at that specific convention. And my money that I made there was out of this world. I mean, it was really, really great. And I think it was just because I was at home, and people that like kind of support me from afar. They don't really contact me on the regular basis to say that they're supporting me, but they might jump in on my OnlyFans every once in a while, or back a movie
Yeah.
that I'm
Hometown girl factor. I
promoting.
love it. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Had you been involved with trauma yet at that point?
Yes. So at that point, I had done, yes, actually, I had done one Booth Babe Super Tromet uh, thing, and that was at it's like Scare. I'm trying to think. It's in Lexington. It's a convention. It's like Scare something.
Aircon, maybe.
But that something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of my favorite conventions because actually they mix horror stuff with occult stuff. So they have like, because
Nice.
they do like a psychic fair every month. These same people, so they have a lot of their readers come in and people that are selling like little witchy jars of like spell jars and stuff like that. So they have all of that integrated in with the horror stuff. So that was my first experience going there, but I was there with Lloyd Kaufman, and it was a great experience. I
Awesome.
ended up making a ton of fans just being there with him, and then a lot of people came to the trauma booth just to meet me. Whereas I wouldn't have had the experience being there at that convention
Yeah, just so for
if I
listeners who
wasn't
may
helping
not
them out.
know, Trauma Team Productions, created by Lloyd Kaufman in the early 80s. It may have even gone back farther than that, but his first big hit was The Toxic Avenger, which just had a re-release, or a reboot, I should say, which was okay. I wasn't as big a fan of it as the original, but they've been making.
Oh, it was so good.
I don't know. I'm such an 80s brat. I was like, hey, what happened to Melvin? And again, I love Peter Dinklage. I love all of the actors who were in it, but I just am such a huge fan of the original that I felt very similar to the way that when they rebooted Dawn of the Dead. I thought it was fantastic, but it still isn't a pimple on the ass of the original. But, that's me. I'm old school. But yeah, Trauma, just all the great stuff they've done over the years. I think probably their most famous stuff would be like Tromeo and Juliet, Thanksgiving. What else have they done? I mean, just tons of sexploitation horror, B movie horror. Um, oh gosh, they did one. Oh, so Matt Stone and Trey Parker did Cannibal the Musical with them, which is also huge and has just had a revival of sorts. I guess they're bringing it to the
Hmm.
stage. So yeah, I mean, it's great that you were able to get involved with them. Now, have you done any actual film work with them?
Yes, I've done two trauma movies now. One is Curse of the Deer, and I just had a small part in that. really I took it on because it was a trauma movie, and there's like different ways to do trauma movies, I guess. There's like you make your own movie and then you sell it to trauma basically, and then they distribute it, or you work with them, you pitch them a script, and then they give you a little money, and then you make it for trauma basically, and that's what this guy did. Ben is his name, and so he was doing a trauma movie, and he like I guess because I had done that convention, someone contacted me and they were like, "Hey, don't you live sort of in this area? Would you be interested in doing this part?" And I was basically a deer stripper. I was dressed up like a deer, and I was dancing for these guys that were having a camping trip, and they hired strippers and wanted them to dress like deers, because they were hunting deer. It was very silly and fun, and honestly, the movie is so good. You should check it out if you haven't seen it. And then I also have done a Lloyd Kaufman produced trauma movie. So that's like that's like the top tier. I
Oh
would
yeah, that's the real
consider
deal.
like
Yep.
that's the real deal. Like I never thought I'd have that experience. So doing these conventions for him, he did mention that he was about to direct another movie, and he suggested that I try out for it, and they wanted me to play a certain part. And I was like, it was a cam girl. And I was like trying to get away from that
Yeah.
actually for a while. I was like, not because there's anything wrong with playing sex workers in films. I just feel like I get pigeonholed into that a lot because they're like, well, she's comfortable with her body.
Yeah.
So she's going to be comfortable with doing these scenes and everything. So I was like, let me just read the script. And I found this other character that's more of like a femme fatale. And, she comes in the middle and she's very mysterious, and she's hot shit basically, and I was like, I want to audition for this one. And I already could do like a transatlantic accent because I had watched I watch a lot of old movies. Like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
kind of my
Katharine
thing. I like
Hepburn.
classic,
Yeah.
yeah, Katharine Hepburn and all that. Like I love all that stuff. So I was like, I'm just gonna when I do my audition, I'm gonna do it with this transatlantic accent and just see like because they announce her in the script sort of coming in like a 1940s like femme fatale badass, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool if she had this accent? So I sent that in and I ended up getting the part. But what's funny is the part of the cam girl ended up merging with my character. So
So
I'm
you ended up
actually
doing it
both.
anyway. Ah, it's
Yeah,
good.
so I'm actually at this time both characters. But yeah, the power of positive murder is what that's called, and they're still working on
Nice.
it. They're still working on editing. Every once in a while, they'll shoot a little something to add to the final product. So they're still working on it, and I find it seems like whenever Trauma makes movies that Lloyd directs, it takes like forever before they come out. So I kind of kept joking with a friend of mine I made on set, Amanda Flowers. She plays the lead girl in the movie. We shared a room on set for damn 6 or 7 weeks. I mean, we were there for a long time. So we made close friends, but I kept saying like, in 8 years when this comes out, we're gonna be so famous. But I don't know, that might end up being the truth of it. But I hope it comes out soon. They ended up shooting it in all black and white, like, and it was I didn't realize it when I was reading the script and decided to try out and do that accent and everything, that it was a film noir. I had no idea that that's what they were
Wow.
going for. And then
That's
so they ended
yeah,
up kind
divine
of.
providence. That's nice.
Yeah, no, it was perfect, and they ended up kind of suggesting that some of the leads try that accent. Debbie Rashawn, she did it pretty well, but like nobody else really did it. But it's cool because I play her daughter in the movie
Oh
whenever she
wow.
gets. Yeah, so I come in and I'm playing her daughter, so we're both the ones that are kind of speaking like that and bringing it back to the 40s for everybody. But it is a really cool project, and I can't wait for everybody to see it.
Awesome. Well, definitely looking forward to that. We will totally check that out and promote it. So I do want to bring it back around to our show a little bit because, um, and baby, are you cool with me bringing up the kind of I was an idiot watching a certain movie and didn't realize what the hell I was doing thing?
Yeah, as long as you tell it the way it happened,
Okay.
sure.
So, as our
Uh-oh.
listeners know, Christine was diagnosed with breast cancer back in November, December. Was it November or
In
December?
December.
December, early
The
December.
day, the day this happened.
Yes. So the day
The
she
very
found out her
day.
diagnosis, of course, we're losing it, right? We're looking up things and trying to figure out options, and it's a
And
crisis.
I already knew that one of the things that was on the table and probably going to happen was a double mastectomy.
Yeah, I mean that's the only
Oh,
way to be sure, 99.9% sure. So I mean we're talking about it at length. We're mourning her breasts already, and my idiot ass. So later that day, we're chilling on the couch, and for weeks we had been watching Ed Wood movies. Now I'm into Trauma, I'm into Ed Wood, I'm into just terrible Donald Farmer. I mean, movies that most people think, oh my God, this is trash, right? Well, yeah, of course it's trash. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it funny.
yeah.
So I put on Ed Wood's Orgy of the Dead. And I had watched this with friends before, and we all would make fun of the dancers and we would laugh at the terrible music and Criswell and Vampira, the Wolfman, the Mummy, all the things. And so I'm sitting there, watching this with her, getting ready to do an evening of Mystery Science Theater 3000 style comedy. And she's just sitting there like nothing, like crickets. And I'm like, what's going on? I didn't say anything, but like, geez, she really doesn't seem to be enjoying this. And as we're watching it, she occasionally, to her credit, would be like, oh, what a silly dance, or who taught these girls how to dance? And then about 2/3 of the way through the movie, she gets up. She said, you know what? I'm going to the bathroom. I said, okay, you want me to pause the movie? And she's like, nope, you keep watching it. And I was like, okay. And then she's like, goes to the bathroom. And I'm like, of course I paused the movie. And I'm like, wait, something's up here. And I'm like, oh shit. And then she comes out and she's like, I'm going to bed. You keep watching your movie. You're fine. I'm not mad. I'm not upset, but I'm going to bed. I'm done. And so I, of course, turned off the movie and went to bed with her. And then the next day, she tells me, okay, you're right. I was not happy because I was just told that I have breast cancer and that my best possible option is to have my breast removed. And here, my person, my lover, my partner is sitting here wanting me to watch a movie that is exclusively topless dancing. And I said, oh my God, I am so sorry, baby. I didn't even think about it. Like we watch crazy,
Oh
stupid
my.
shit together all the time. But I mean, literally, that's all Orgy, the original Orgy of the Dead is. It's a
I've
striptease.
seen it.
Yeah, of course you have. And that's why I brought it back around because I know that you're in Orgy of the Dead too. And I really would love it. But I wanted to share that story because, yeah, I was a fucking idiot. And of course, I apologized profusely and cried and like, I'll never do it. I'm so sorry.
You
But yeah,
poor
we're fine
thing.
now.
But yeah, you should have known.
Yeah,
You should have
absolutely. I'm
known.
such an
Yeah, that was
insensitive
pretty
putz.
clueless.
Yeah. My
It's
clueless
like,
guy
hi,
moment.
I have breast cancer. I'm probably gonna lose my boobs. Okay, let's watch Orgy of the Day.
Oh my God. I'm
Ah,
sorry that
yeah.
happened.
I was batting 1,000 that day.
It's
I think
okay.
I wrote you like 2 extra poems that week.
Yeah, yeah,
That's she
Oh,
doesn't get
you write
flowers
her
or candy when I fuck
poetry?
up. I write her poetry.
yeah,
That's so nice.
yeah. I have a whole book of it that he gave me for Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's
so
really nice.
Orgy of the Dead too. How did you get involved in that and what was that experience like?
Okay, so my friend AJ Chambers was making Orgy of the Dead too, and I had never seen Orgy of the Dead. I never saw it until I literally showed up on set, and he's like, "Do you want to watch the movie like while you sign posters?" And I was like, "Sure." And I loved it. Like, I can see why people think it's trash, and like, it's just it's basically a nudie cutie movie, from like I was it from the 50s or the 60s.
65, I
And
think, when
it's
it came out. Yeah.
yeah, okay, that sounds about right. But yeah, it's an excuse for striptease, you know what I mean? So it's like these girls that are coming out of these tombs and doing these beautiful dance. The Golden Girl was my favorite,
Yeah. Throw gold
and
at her.
she's so hot. But yeah, so when he asked me to do it, he explained what it was and kind of explained the plot of it and how it was going to go. And I was like, "Do you want me to be one of the dancers?" And the way they come about it is that the girls are actually they're the undead basically in his version, and they have like one's a sword swallower and they make a joke about her deep throating and then there's just it's pretty funny actually and it's the dances are really silly, and you are asking sometimes who the hell taught this person how to dance. But I think that's the beauty of it, because
Yeah.
there's like some incredible dancers actually mixed in, but they're all super sexy in their own way, like. And I think it was like also being on set, like some of these girls, this is the first time they ever like performed in a way that is like supposed to be, a sexual manner. We considered it burlesque, we were like, this is burlesque basically, because they come on with a character and they strip out of that, whatever it happens to be. There's a furry that accidentally got shot in the woods, during hunting season, stuff like that. But I actually play one of the characters, one of the teenagers, which is really funny. And so like we get in a car accident and we're going looking for help, and then we discover this party that's going on in the middle of the cemetery with strippers, and I'm all into it. So my character, and this is why I asked to play her after I read the script, she is just horny for everything. Like she's like everything. She's like, oh my God, a furry that got shot, like take me now. Like everything weird that's happening in the movie, I'm so turned on by it.
That's
So
great.
I was like, I have to play this. I have to play this part. But yeah, it was super fun. Like it's sexy, it's fun, it's got a loose plot. And I get to play the horny girl that just wants to fuck literally everybody and everything that's on at the party, even Wolfman. Like I'm just like, woo, yeah, like but yeah, that's a really fun movie. And yeah, he just asked me basically to pick apart. I was sort of interested in the kind of the goth girl part where she's kind of sitting with the leader of sorts who's like
Yeah.
putting on the show. They went about that a little bit differently than the original, which really made it better. But yeah, I was like, well, maybe that. He's like, no, I really want you to play like a part where you're doing like a character more so. And so yeah, I picked the horny girl, Cindy.
Fun. All right. Well, that is so cool. Are there any of your other films that you have like really memorable experiences that you like to share?
Gosh, you know what? Like I have so many, like I've done 60, it's funny, 69 movies at this point. Not all of them have been released because that's the beauty of independent cinema.
Yeah.
You never know if what you're doing is going to get finished, because people a lot of times they get into making movies and they don't really realize how much work goes into post-production, and then they quit. They're like, they give up, So there's a lot of movies that I put my all into that may never ever get seen.
Yeah.
But that's fine, because honestly, I learned on those sets and it made me better for the next set. And I value those experiences. So I don't know. There's so many experiences that I've had on set. I'd probably say the most interesting time and the longest time I was on set was for that Lloyd Kaufman movie, The Power of Positive Murder. Since we were on set for 6, 7 weeks, I had never in my life done that. I'd never, maybe a week, a week and a half, at most shooting. But the way they went about it is they wanted to do rehearsals first, and then they went from rehearsals to starting to shoot the film. And we had a schedule, and like it would have been really silly for me to go home after the rehearsals and then come back whenever we were filming. But so I just stayed and I helped out a little bit with some of the special effects whenever they could pry me out of my room, because I'm such a like I stay in bed all day type person. But I ended up like learning a little bit about that stuff and making some really good friends. My boyfriend, I met him on set, so that's probably my most memorable set
Heck yeah.
experience is that.
When does that
But
movie come out?
hell if I know. I like it's one of those like they're not done editing it. Like who knows when it's gonna come out. But once it's coming out, I'm never gonna shut up about it. Like I'm like I'm in a Lloyd Kaufman directed movie by Trauma. I'm gonna be telling everybody about it. So
Yeah, I
you'll
mean, that's
definitely
some
hear
next level
something
shit.
from
I mean,
me.
is that the highest production value film that you've been involved in?
Um, maybe not. Some of the other films I've done, that have taken less time to shoot, have had some pretty great production value. Ones that you wouldn't even expect. And it shows, it shows in the
Yeah.
final product. But definitely, it's definitely higher up And you know, the way they went about it, it seems like that's like, I don't know if that's like the classic way of doing things, like having rehearsals and then starting to film. I'm not
Well,
sure.
if Lloyd's directing,
But
I imagine there's some old school, involvement there.
yeah,
He's been
I
doing
bet
it a
that is
long
like an
time.
old
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
So
yeah,
as an
that was really
actress,
fun.
who would you say that you look up to? Is there anybody that you kind of like, this is the person that has inspired me the most with acting or with adult work or anything like that? Your influences.
My influences, definitely Parker Posey, I would say.
Awesome.
I love her. She's really funny and she's a sincerely great actress as well. She can
Yeah.
really play anything. And I really love to do comedic roles, but I really like to do serious ones too. So I like her energy. Um, Other people, it's hard whenever I get put on the spot like this. I'm like, I can't think.
Well, so when you were a
But I
little
will say,
girl, did you dream about becoming a movie star someday, maybe, and thought, oh, I want to be like so and so?
yes.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I would definitely say, yes, I wanted to be a movie star, and I started learning about like Marilyn Monroe and like how she was a kind of orphaned a bit. Like her mom was crazy and ended up putting her in orphanages over and over in her lifetime. And I don't know, weirdly identified with that because my mom would like move away sometimes and leave me to be cared for by my grandmother. And I just identified with her story so much. And then she just like she grew up and she got hot and she got revenge like on the world. And I was like, I want to be like that. Like I want to do that.
Yeah,
Hopefully I don't
success is
have.
the best revenge. Yeah,
It
Gypsy. I
really
don't know if
is.
you've ever seen Gypsy with Natalie Wood, but it's my favorite musical of all time. And it's a similar thing. Like she was brought up in a neglectful, abusive household full of kids. They tried to succeed on vaudeville. She became the world's most famous burlesque dancer and just took everybody by storm. So that's how you do it.
Yeah. I love Gypsy, as a matter of fact. Yeah, my mom showed me Gypsy when I was probably in junior high, and I already wanted. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I already wanted to be a stripper
Oh,
by the
yeah,
time
this
I was
is
in
an adult
second.
show. Shit, damn, fucking last bitch. Yeah.
Okay. I remember I wanted to be a stripper since the second grade. Like, but then when I saw Gypsy, I was like, you gotta have a gimmick. Like, I was like,
Right.
oh, hell yeah. Like, I was like that. Like, I was like, I want a gimmick. Like, I want to be known for, entertaining like this. And Natalie Wood was so fucking awesome in that movie. And Natalie Wood's story is really crazy to me as
Oh yeah,
well.
we
Like, I
were
mean,
just
if
watching
you look in,
Brainstorm, her last movie with Christopher Walken, that she was filming
ooh.
when she died, and yeah, I mean, she was a fantastic actress up till the day she died. Such a tragedy.
Literally. Yeah. And you know she for did you know that a gypsy I don't know if you're not allowed to say that anymore.
Well,
But a
Romani
gypsy,
people, for anybody who out there is Romani, we're using it colloquially. We don't believe that you should be called a gypsy. Okay.
yes, exactly. A Romani person did a reading for her mother and said that she would die in water. Did you know that? Like whenever she was
Oh my
a
God, I hadn't
kid?
heard that. That's creepy.
Yeah, you gotta look this up. And then when she was a kid, she was doing a part she was really afraid of, and she was like walking over like a bridge or something, and there was water underneath that was like a stream, and it was going, and she fell in, and because the shot was she was supposed to be struggling in the shot, they kind of tricked her into it. They didn't go in and grab her until like the last minute, and she thought she was literally going to drown. And she knew about her mom getting that reading, and that scared the shit out of her, and she was scared of water her whole life.
Oh my
And then of
God.
course, yeah,
Right.
like
That's the one
goodness
thing that's going to
gracious.
get you, right? It's like sharks. I don't go swimming because, also, real quick, sharks, shark exorcist too. I heard you talking to somebody, it might have been in a reel about Japan.
Yeah, so that got a really huge release in Japan. Shark Exorcist 2. I saw Shark Exorcist 1 and I thought if Donald ever makes another Shark Exorcist, like I definitely want to be a part of it. And my character is so goofy. It's really fun. I'm just a girl who wants to go on a trip to Destin Beach of all places. And I'm like, I'm gonna be a party dancer and I'm gonna earn this money because my boyfriend won't take me to Destin, Florida. And a party dancer basically is like a girl that shows up at your house and she gives you a strip tease and gives you a lap dance like there at your house. And which seems really, you know, people do that, but it's very unsafe. You really need to bring somebody with you if you're going to be doing something
Right.
like that.
Yeah. That's like some
But yeah, so
Craigslist
I was,
shit. Yeah.
yeah, I was a party dancer, and then I met a guy that it was like the first guy I went to go dance for in the movie. And I'm like, this is the guy that's going to take me to Destin. Fuck making the money. So I'm like trying to manipulate him into taking me to Destin. He ends up taking me to some like crappy beach where it's like it's like not even the ocean, you know, it's like a river or something. And I'm just like, this is a poor person's beach. Like, I don't know. My character is so funny in that, and I had a really good time with that. Like that's a classic for sure.
Yeah. So
Check
what
it out
about
if you haven't seen
Japan?
it.
Like, did you actually go there or?
No, I wish. I wish that I could. I've never been to Japan, but yeah, I remember whenever they did the release in Japan, there's a special box cover because the Japanese people are very interested in shark movies. It's like a thing. And so whenever they heard of Shark Exorcist 2, they were all in. And there's pictures of people in the audience that they took pictures of the audience, and it was packed. Like if I could have gone, you know, I would have been there. Like
Oh
that would have
yeah.
been the time of my life for sure. But I just thought it was so cool. And now I can kind of say, you know, I'm big in Japan. A little bit. At
That's
least
awesome.
for that night, you know.
Yeah. So this is honestly, this is one of the last questions. So I do another show called the Scared Shitless Podcast, and we talk about actually scary movies. And so I don't know that any of the films that your 69 films, if you would consider any of them actually scary, like you watch it and you get the shit scared out of you, like The Exorcist or Jaws. But we always ask, you know, what is the scariest movie you've ever seen?
Scariest movie I've ever seen is Ju-on, which is The
The
Grudge. It's
Grudge,
the
yes.
Japanese. Yeah, the American version sucks in my opinion. Ju-on, I watched it in the middle of the day when I first saw it, and someone had told me about it, and they told me about a particular scene where because I always have these like thoughts when I'm in the shower when there's soap on my eyes and I can't open my eyes, like I'm gonna open my eyes and someone's gonna be there. Or there's a scene where she's washing her hair and she starts feeling something and it's a hand
Yeah,
in
that's
her hair. And I was like, they told me about that, and I was like, I'm in. So I watch it in the middle of the day, and I was scared to go to the bath down the hall to tinkle. Like I was so scared that this woman was gonna come out and get me. I would love to be in a movie like that because everything was like practical effects. Like they made the ghosts up, you know, with makeup. It's so fucking scary. Like I like anytime I watch it, I'm just like on the edge of my seat. Like I think it's one of the scariest movies of all time. But also, I think Candyman is really
oh
scary. Like the
yeah,
original Can
yeah.
I've never seen the one that they made a couple years ago.
It
It was
was
kind of like
okay.
how
It
you
was
were
okay.
saying.
But yeah, the
Well,
original man, when he says be my victim, like that gets me every time. Like,
it was kind of sexy too. It was like sexy
yeah,
scary. That's
Tony
like very
Todd with that deep
confusing.
voice. Yeah. I could,
Oh yeah, Tony Todd was like he was killing it in that role, but yeah, I was scared to see the new one, kind of how you said about, you know, the Toxic Avenger. You were like nervous going in because, you know, you're redoing something that's so classic. So I haven't seen it yet because I want to be in the perfect brain space whenever I see it to like really just take it in as a completely new thing and not totally compare it
yeah.
to the Candyman. But Candyman is fucking scary. I've never said that name.
5 times in the mirror or whatever.
No, I've never no, and I won't let anybody do it around me. I'll start screaming if they try to do it. But
So do you
that was
like
really
scary
scary.
movies? I mean, you do a lot of, you know, exploitation horror, but or grindhouse type stuff, right? But like, do you enjoy that as a genre?
My as far as like my interest in horror movies, I really like stuff that's like supernatural, you know, like I like that kind of, I like ghosts, I like you know, possessions, I like anything that's written about like religion and the devil, because I grew up in that world where, religion was really scary to me, the
Yeah.
idea that you could go to hell and everything. So that it just hits on a different level. Slasher movies, like I do a lot of them, but and they're kind of fun to watch sometimes, like, especially like Scream, like the first
Yeah.
couple Screams are really great. But I don't really like those movies. Like they don't really do it for me. I
Yeah.
like to be like scared of a ghost. Like I want to be scared that whenever I go into the next room, that when I turn the light on, there's gonna be a fucking ghost that's crawled up on the ceiling and
Right.
is looking down on me. You know what I mean? Like that's what I get scared of personally.
Awesome.
Yeah, supernatural seems way more unpredictable than
Yeah.
a slasher movie. It's like ghosts can happen at any moment and I know the other could too, but I don't know. There's just something about supernatural could just come out of the ceiling. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. I
Agreed.
love anything supernatural, and I also love anything that's like set in an asylum or a
Ooh,
hospital
yeah.
kind of, setting. I love those. Or psychiatry, some not necessarily a psychological thriller, although there some can be really good, but like a psychiatrist dealing with patients, the crazy people.
Have you seen, have you ever seen The Exorcism of Emily Rose?
You know, I saw I saw that previews of that, but I didn't watch it.
Oh,
You got
guess
to see
what?
it.
Guess what we're watching next? Yeah, it's a
It's
good
a
one.
it's a mix of the psychiatry being scary, like what you were saying, and then it's kind of got some mental health things in there, and then it's possession, which is like the supernatural element
Yeah,
that you were talking about.
yeah.
That is one of my favorite possession movies, and I feel like it's underrated, and I don't think people talk about it enough. Like I was kind of floored after watching it. I was like, oh, that makes sense. But anyways, I'm not going to say anything else. You got to watch it. You got to watch it.
Well,
Okay,
I
good.
think
Cool.
it would be fun to have you on the Scared Shitless podcast, not necessarily to talk about your own movies, but just like your favorite scary movie. Would you be
I'd be
interested?
down.
Awesome. Okay.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
I'll talk to Slinky Jallo and the lovely Aaron Dawn and see if we can get you booked. So the reason I think you'd be great, for one, you have great taste in horror movies. All of my favorite horror movies are either creatures from beyond fucking with you or ghosts. But then
Yeah,
Slinky's favorite horror movie is The Grudge. So I'm like, okay, well, or Ju-on rather. So yeah, I mean, that's
yeah.
fun.
I
Well,
got really into Japanese horror for a while. Like it was like I was taking in anything I could find
yeah.
that was Japanese horror because I think it's all based on ghosts and grudges and like curses and all that fun stuff, and I really like it. I don't know. It tickles my fancy.
Well, now that I've derailed our sex show with horror talk, yeah, but all that shit goes hand in hand. I mean, again, we're doing a show called the Scared Titless Podcast because, there's so much sexploitation in horror, even like serious high budget horror. You're always going to, they call them boobs and blood flicks for the longest time. So, but is there anything that you want to promote that you have coming up or that you feel maybe hasn't got enough attention that you want people to check out?
Well, I just watched a movie that I did with Donald Farmer just a few months ago. It's going to be coming out very soon. It's called Scream Queen's Weenie Roast, and it is so funny. It's my favorite Donald Farmer movie that I've done so far, and that's saying a lot because I helped him to write and come up with like the costuming and everything for Darby's Scream house. And I really like that one, and I'm so glad it finally came out at the beginning of this year. Like I was like, ah, I've been waiting for it for like 2.5 years to
Yeah,
come
it
out.
looks
But
hilarious. I saw the trailer today. It looks fantastic. Just so funny.
it's so silly, but I think that Scream Queen Weenie Roast is even better.
Wow.
But I think people are really going to like it. It's definitely got the things you expect from a Donald Farmer movie, the
Yeah.
flaws, there's a part where my character is called the wrong name, and another part where like a fan is talking about me because he asked me if I wanted. He's like, you can name your character, and I named it, but it was after they already shot this. So then I guess they tried to call me by two names in another part. They called me like by both names, but I don't know. It's kind of like art reflecting life because I did add Jupiter to my stage
Right.
name last year. It's Jessa
Yeah, I
Jupiter
saw your
Love now.
celebration. Hey, it's on IMDb now. Yay.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, you can that could happen. So maybe in this world, the Scream Queen changed her name. But yeah, so there's definitely those things you expect, those little Easter eggs of fun that you're gonna be like, what did I just say? But you know, it's shot pretty well, and the premise is really funny, and I'm playing like a hyper silly version of myself, basically. It's like a alt girl that's like also a scream queen, and I'm up against these friends of mine. Ronnie Jonah's in it, and then you've got
Yay.
Alice Winkler, and then my friend Niv Arnia, or I always say her last name wrong. Ara, is it Arnia? Arnea? Niv Arnia. Niv is in it. She plays my assistant and lover. So that's kind of hot. And yeah, so I think everybody's gonna like that. And we're going to premiere it actually at FrankenCon in June in Tennessee. So I'm really, really excited about that. I hope a lot of people come and check it out. It's gonna be a free event too. So
Awesome. So you've been to like a bunch of other cons besides Evansville Horror Con, yeah?
oh yeah, I've been to quite a few conventions. Yeah, I'd like to do more. If I could do one every other month, like that would be great for me
Yeah,
because you
Christine and
meet
I are
so
going to
many.
Days of the Dead in Indianapolis in July,
Oh,
the day
I
before
thought
her
about doing
birthday.
that and I
Have you
thought
been
about
there?
doing that and splitting a table with someone.
Nice. So are you booked this year for that or?
No, I'm not yet. So I talked to a friend. He asked me if I'd be interested in splitting a table with him for that one, and I've done it. That was actually the first convention I did as an actress a couple of years ago, and I had a hell of a time there. But I'm not sure if I want to do. I don't know, because I wouldn't be a guest, like a proper guest, where they would be paying for my
Right.
my actual room and everything. I would have to get my own room since I'd be sharing a table with another vendor, and he's a filmmaker. So I'm not really sure if I'm going to do it or not, but I might because I really had a really great time at the first one I did.
Do you have a general idea of the cost for just a general regular vendor table there?
He told me what it was like literally last week, and a bunch of stuff was going on, so I don't recall, but I feel like I want to say it was like 350 or something or in that price range, and then we'd be splitting that. I need to get back with him. As a matter of fact, you just reminded me. So,
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm so excited because Paul Williams is going to be there, and he did the voice of the Penguin on the Batman TV show. He plays in Phantom of the Paradise, one of my favorite horror movie musicals, and he wrote the Rainbow Connection. So I'm just like super excited that he's going to be there.
awesome.
But Eli Roth's going to be there. They got all kinds of great guests this year. So
Maybe I should do it. Maybe I should do it.
all right. Well, baby, do you have anything you'd like to throw at Jessa before we let her go? Get back to her normal
No,
life?
no, no, no. It's been good.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on the show. We will, of course, promote you as much as we can, and would appreciate if you return the favor. But I look forward
Absolutely.
to hopefully doing this again with you sometime, whether it's on
That
this
would be
show
great.
or one of our others. So, all right. Well, absolute pleasure
Awesome.
and best of luck to you with all of your upcoming projects. We, of course, will put all the links in the description. And
Yes.
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, you have a wonderful evening. Thank you again.
JessaDoesItAll.com. JessaDoesItAll.com. Please support me. Check out my stuff.
And if you want to
Everybody will go
contact
take a look
us,
at it.
it's taboo a couple's journey at gmail.com. But yes, jessadoesitall.com is where you go to find out what she's up to and support her projects. And
Yeah.
your what is it? You have fans like buying you things, yeah? Like
Yeah, yeah. So that is from I guess my old cam girl days. That's pretty commonplace with camming. But yeah, so yeah, fans will send me stuff off of my wish list. Mainly, it seems like it's mostly centered around like holidays, like my birthday or Christmas, but I get random little treats every once in a while. And then sometimes, like right now, I need specific things for this movie coming up. So I've been kind of like hustling that, like, please send these things. And of course, I give back, if they send me something, and they're not a member of my OnlyFans, I'll give them a free month, or I'll send them a free video like of something that I've already recorded, something like that, just to say thank you. Or sometimes they're already members, they've already got the videos, they're just doing it because they want to see me do well, they want to support me and
Yeah.
make sure that I have whatever I need in whatever project I'm doing. So it just really depends. But hey, I hope somebody gets that damn bikini soon because I'm a little nervous about it.
All right. Well, thank you again for being on the show. And again, best of luck to you in all your sexual adventures, we always say, and of course, with all of your projects.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was great.